told us the internet was an archive, a net to catch human knowledge. They lied. It's a filter, and what falls through the mesh doesn't just vanish, it rots. My name is Dr. Iris Thorne. Before the global headlines screamed about the Dodo Sleep Experiment, before humanity learned what happens when you strip the human mind of its darkest evolutionary defense mechanism, sleep, there was a baseline. Every catastrophic failure has a silent digital genesis. This is ours. It began in the late autumn of 1998 inside a decommissioned Soviet-era bunker buried beneath the frozen topsoil of Siberia. We called it Sector 7. Our funding came from a shadowy military tech firm obsessed with cognitive optimization. They wanted soldiers who didn't sleep, but to engineer a mind that could withstand total insomnia. We first had to understand how the brain processes digital frequency. We needed catalysts. We needed minds that were highly receptive to digital architecture. The firm brought us two young brothers, Janik and Nico. They were inseparable, deeply bonded, and completely unaware of the horror that awaited them. To us, they were just subject alpha and subject beta. To the world, they would become the Dodo brothers. Our team had unearthed a Rouge peer-to-peer data package floating on the prehistoric deep web. The file was simply labeled Dodo_.exe. My job was to analyze the visual architecture of the packet, then execute on our heavily shielded CRT monitors. It didn't look like code, it looked like a virus of pure aesthetic. It weaponized the terminal static, arranging the pixels into hyper-dense, repeating geometric patterns, fractals that shouldn't have been mathematically possible on a 32-bit system. We called it pixel poison. We put Janik and Nico in front of the screens. The pixel forced their brainwaves to match the refresh rate of the monitor, exactly 60 Hz, but laced with a subliminal subharmonic that targeted the sleep switch in the human brain. "It's beautiful, Iris," whispered Elena, my lead technician, during the night. 3 of the tests. Her eyes were bloodshot, reflected in the toxic green glow of the terminal. "It's not turning their brains off. It's overclocking them. Look at the EEG." The monitor showed the brothers' brain waves. They hadn't blinked in days. The lines weren't the smooth rolling waves of the rest. They were perfectly jagged, artificial square waves. Digital architecture superimposed on human flesh. By day 6, the poison began to mutate Janik and Nico. They sat side by side in their steel chairs, face inches from the glass screens. Their CRT monitors hummed, a low, nurturing drone that vibrated through the floorboards. They stopped talking to us, but they kept talking to each other, not in words, but in a strange rapid-fire sequence of numbers and rhythmic tapping. Their fingers moved across the mechanical keyboards with horrifying speed, the click-click-click sounding like a submachine gun. They were mirroring the code, typing thousands of lines of raw hexametric garbage. Then, the visual anomaly started. On one screen, behind the shifting green fractals, a silhouette began to form between the two monitors. It looked vaguely humanoid, but its proportions were entirely wrong. Its jaw was elongate, stretched wide as if caught in a permanent silent screen, and its eyes were two blinding, white, hot phosphor pixels. Elena, clean the cache. The monitors are burning in, I ordered, a cold sweat breaking out on my neck. I can't, Iris, she replied, her voice hollow. The screens aren't burned in. The code is, it's bridging them together. I looked through the reinforced glass. Janik and Nico's skin had turned an unusual translucent gray, mirroring the hue of the monitor's glass. The veins in their necks were pulsing in perfect synchronization with the 60 Hz flicker. And then, at the exact same millisecond, both brothers turned to face to each other and smiled. It was the exact impossible, agonizing illumination of the silhouette on the screen. The night of the containment breach, the air in the bunker smelled of ozone and scorched copper. At 3, the main power failed, but the CRT monitors didn't go dark. They glowed brighter, drawing power from an unknown internal surge. The neon green light flooded the laboratory, casting long, twisted shadows. I rushed to the main server room, only to find Elena. She was sitting on the floor, staring into a shattered monitor. Glass shards were embedded in her palms, dripping dark blood to the keyboard. She was typing with her bleeding fingers. Elena, stop! I screamed, grabbing her shoulders. When she turned her head, my heart stopped. The pixel poison had infected her through the network. The pupils of her eyes were gone, replaced by a flickering, pixelated static. We are clearing the biological lag, Iris, she croaked, her voice layered with a digital distortion. The flash is so slow, the dodos cannot fly because its mind is heavy with sleep. But Janik and Nico, they found their frequency. They are freeing the cage. Behind her, the corrupted screen, the silhouette was no longer a shadow. It was tearing through the digital matrix to get out. I ran to the brothers' containment cell. The reinforced glass was shattered inward. Janik and Nico were no longer sitting in their chairs. They were fused against the far wall. Their bodies twisted to intervene in a horrific gliding mass of flashing cables. Their eyes were white, glowing with their terrible bright phosphor white. They weren't two separate boys anymore. The pixel poison had melted their identities, rewriting them into a collective sleepless entity. They whispered in unison, a sound that vibrated directly into my skull. The pulse is complete. We are a dodo. I fled. I didn't shut down the system. I couldn't. I grabbed the encrypted hard drive containing the biological data of what the pixel poison did to Janik and Nico and ran into the freezing Siberian night. The military firm didn't destroy Sector 7, they cleaned it. They took the twisted, sleepless remnants of the Dodo brothers and locked them away in a deeper, darker vault. They looked at the horrifying mutation and saw the perfect baseline. They realized that the pixel poison was too unstable in its digital form. The human body fractured when forced to become code. To make the ultimate weapon, they needed to remove the digital middleman. They needed to achieve that exact, horrific 60 Hz brain overclocking state through a controlled chemical environment. They moved the project to a new facility. They brought a new batch of political prisoners. They commissioned a gas that would force the human mind into exact same sleepless hell that consumed Janik and Nico. In twisted memory of the two brothers who became the first victims of the polls, they named the project the Dodo Sleep Experiment. But I know the truth. I sit here in my hidden room typing this on an old mechanical typewriter. Never again I will touch a screen. I can hear the hum of the city's power grid outside my window. Every television, every phone, every monitor glowing in the dark. They think they are safe, but Janik and Nico are still trapped in a code, and the pixel poison is still out there, hiding in the refresh rates, waiting in the static, and once it locks on your eyes, you will never ever sleep again.
Rust bleeds down every single